Are you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
Hello guys, welcome to our show. Today we discuss about customers, how you can create your stream and get new customers on board. I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Jessica. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's raining, but when you're at home, I like to watch on the window, because it's good feeling that you are not outside. Okay,
Yes.
before we start, just tell more about your self-experience, background, and why you decided to share with us about customers.
Yeah. So I've been in organic content marketing my whole career, so more than a decade. And that means I've done everything from content strategy, blog writing, editing to social media management, email marketing. And what I really love doing is SEO, content creation, and SEO strategy because, we say creating a new stream of customers. It's this one piece that a lot of companies don't necessarily want to invest in because it doesn't give immediate results like ads. And I think paid advertising is great and it's incredibly powerful and important. But organic content marketing, which is what I'm talking about, so creating, SEO optimized content for your website, that is what drives your results long after you've turned the paid ads tap off. And it's also what gets you in front of your customers. So for example, I work mostly with mental wellness brands. And in 2021 and 2022, Google has seen all-time high searches of things like healing, mental health apps. People are looking for, in this case, specifically what these companies have to offer without necessarily looking for their specific offering. And so by creating this content, this SEO-based content, you're getting in front of those people who don't know they need you yet. But when they see what you have to offer, they're going to be like, oh, wow, like I would love to use an app like that, or I would love a service like that. So that's how we use organic content, SEO-based content, to get in front of these people and create that new stream of customers that there may be some resistance because it doesn't give those immediate results, but organic gives long-term results. So like everyone should have started yesterday because it's going to keep feeding and getting better and better and keep driving people to your site.
Love it. You know why? Because your experience is related with my pain points, my audience pain points, my customers' pain points, because I know how it's hard. And you mentioned about immediate results. For me, I don't know how to get quick results. It's possible, everything, but I'm not sure that you need to chase quick results. It's better to have long playing strategy. And you mentioned about creating strategy. Can you tell how to find and create the right strategy? The reason why I'm asking about that, because I see when webmasters open tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz, many others, and they find high volume keywords, can see, wow, a lot of volume, I need them. But, they don't consider many other factors that they are not alone. We have competition. We have many other content creators. And sometimes traffic is not related to sales funnel. For example, even if I get SEO in the top 10 results, it doesn't mean that I can sell with this keyword because it's not related to my sales funnel. It's more related to tools, to educational content. Can you tell how to create the right strategy today?
Yeah, I love that question. It's so important because we're not creating content just to create it, right? That's the end goal. The end goal is to get people into your funnel. So you want to start very like at the foundation of, yes, we want to create educational content, but let's be hyper specific to our audience. So for example, an app that helps people with anxiety, they might think like, okay, we help millennials with anxiety, but actually their actual target audience is like single millennials living in the city who have a dog. That's probably not it, but you know what I mean? You're getting a lot more specific. So your content is speaking directly to the person who you know for sure is going to see your app and be like, I need that. So foundationally, you're creating very niche specific content rather than just trying to do like a spray and pray strategy where you're just like throwing a bunch of content out there. And then the second piece is when you're creating your content, thinking about how you can naturally relate back to your offering within the content. So it's not like this pushy sales content, but it's like, you know, your life could be easier if you had like an app that you could refer to 3 times throughout the day. And this would help you stay on track and hold you accountable. Like, by the way, that's our app was actually built to do that type of thing. So you're able to naturally, you know, bring it into the content. And then the final piece is figuring out how you can more overtly get your product in front of those people. So whether that's like, I find the best option is actually, which people think is obnoxious, but it works, like a full page pop-up, or like something that comes up that says like with a testimonial and then a link to go check out the service or the offering or whatever. So you're putting your offering right in front of people when they land on the page. Or more ideally, you're not giving them your direct hard sell, but you're giving them like a soft sell, like a free download to get them into your email funnel, where you're then going to more hard sell to them throughout their, you know, experience.
I'm curious about, you mentioned about, yeah, of course, we need to create high quality content, but, you know, I see when webmasters usually struggle to find the right copywriters. Many of them, for example, from my experience, they usually pay attention to create awesome products and they have no time to write. Some of them don't like writing. So, but, you know, I think writing and text are foundation of any content. So without sharing value, without high quality text, you can't get high quality content as well, because design can't save bad context. Can you tell how to find writers? Because, you know, for example, 10 years ago, I had a team of copywriters. They wrote about anything. Google ranked all my websites, you know, and we created only e-commerce content for any user intent, and that worked well. Today, it's not. We change, of course, after Google updates many times this attitude, but we still have the struggle to find responsible writers. It's not like to go to Upwork or Fiverr or any other websites to find writers with good rating. I tried many times and failed many times as well, because, you know, they have these ratings, but they usually write about anything. And today Google wants to get expertise. Can you tell from your experience how to find writers who can create high quality, valuable context?
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, it's more important to have a good editor who understands the SEO and the strategy, because you can have a crappy writer and that editor can turn that content around. Not that you want that experience, but a good editor that knows how to write and format and has an understanding of SEO is really what you want. So I would spend the more money on, like, let's say someone who's more high level, even if they're just contract, who can then manage writers. But then in terms of finding good writers, your network is always an incredibly valuable resource of writers that you might not tap into. Even emailing or like messaging writers through LinkedIn that you see on publications that you really like, and they're writing consistently about the type of content that you can tell they have like a clear understanding of the topic. You know, a lot of writers these days are just doing freelance content. So they're taking on lots of clients. And if you can find someone in your niche and you really love their work, every writer wants someone to reach out to them and ask them to work for them. So that's another option too, if you're looking to go the more contract route, which I don't feel you need to hire in-house to be able to get a good writer. I think you can do that through, you know, contract and freelancers. And the other option is to work like with an agency like mine, where I manage all of that. So you're just getting a really great piece of content on the other end, and you don't have to worry about editing it. You don't have to worry about the strategy. You don't have to worry about finding the writers. Like, you do what you do best, and then you let me and my team deal with those details.
Nice, love it. Yeah, by the way, I cooperate with many editors as well, because I know without editing, it's hard to create awesome content, because they can simplify user experience. And sometimes even it's good when editors are not familiar with specific niche, because if they don't understand, nobody can understand this content. So when editors reply, for example, when we create content about crypto or forex, many editors don't know anything about that, but when they ask a lot of questions. What's going on? Can you reply? Can you tell? What does it mean? So that's part of the process to create content that everyone can understand. Can you tell? You mentioned about your team. Can you tell your unique selling proposition? Because I think all companies have their unique selling proposition, strong sides, and you mentioned that you can take away these pain points, to create this content, to take all this responsibility. Share about your unique selling proposition compared to other agencies.
Yeah, so I think something that really sets my agency apart is that we just do content. We do some social media management, but our focus is really, really great SEO content, and specifically for female founded mental wellness brands. So traditionally, I've worked with lots of different industries, lots of different types of companies, but I'm really honing in there. And I'll tell you why. One, because that's what I know really well. This is also what I'm really passionate about. So not only do I create really good content, I know my SEO strategy works. I've used it with many, many, many clients. But the passion that comes into the work. So it's not just like a broad agency with 15 people on your team and they don't really care about your industry. They're just there doing the work. I'm here doing it because my goal is to help you amplify your impact and reach people who really need what you need, because I have needed many mental wellness apps and services and offerings, and they've made my life better. And so now my goal is to then turn that around and help these companies reach more people who need what they have to offer. So I think the passion and the fact that you're just dealing with me. I'm what you might call a boutique agency. I have people that work for me, but you're always working one-on-one with just me. And I think the specialization is something we don't see a lot in the digital space. I feel like a lot of agencies do everything, and I've never wanted to do that. I've always wanted to really stay in my lane and master that, and I feel like I have.
Yeah, nice, love it. Okay, you mentioned about mental wellness. Can you tell more about it? For example, I think health industry is related more to EAT, expertise, authority, trust. When Google pays attention to your real expertise, and if you have this expertise, Google can rank higher your content. Because I'm working in similar niche, like not similar, but in finance niche, that is important to have this trust as well, because it impacts people stability, mental issue, many other stuff. So can you tell how it's important to cooperate with experienced writers? For example, you mentioned that your customers cooperate with you, but if you share the task to others, they need to have this experience. Can you tell how it's important to cooperate with the best in your industry who can create awesome text?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. A lot of my clients, we do ghostwriting. So we write the content for them, and then we have a really collaborative editing experience. So it feels like their voice, and then it's published, under the name of the founder or the CEO or someone who does have that authority in the space. But if you're working with a lot of guest authors and stuff like that, I think it's even beyond Google, which, yes, you want to have people, authoritative people, you don't want their bio to just be like writes about food and, mental health. You want them to have some sort of background, but beyond Google, you want that for your readers. Like when I'm looking at something, especially in the wellness space or the mental health space, I want to see that the person who wrote it, like, has letters after their name or runs a business that's relevant to this. Like, I want to see that they have experience, and that builds trust with me, which then in turn helps build trust with your brand, which then makes me more likely to be a customer. So I think you want to think beyond that. And then again, like finding those people is like what we talked about, like, are there people writing in your industry that you think are doing really cool things that you can reach out to and see if they'd be interested in writing for you? And people in your network, I'm sure your LinkedIn is filled with a lot more people than you think that, might be good, might be interested in getting the brand impressions or creating some content that's going to, help boost their thought leadership.
Yeah, nice. Okay, can you tell how to learn users or customers or people who will consume your content? Because you mentioned about this wellness industry, so you need to understand people who will consume this content, and it's more important how to submit the right call to action. For example, I have a client who got like 400,000 traffic per month, but he couldn't convert this traffic because of avoiding the right call to action. Yeah, he has this traffic, but he can't convert and monetize. Can you tell how to learn more about users who will consume your content and how to submit the right call to action to lead them to the product page?
Yeah, it's really industry dependent and very, very brand dependent. So like my first question to him would be like, who are you writing for and are you actually writing for them? Who is your ideal customer and are you actually creating content, or are you just creating broader content and so no one's converting because you're not actually talking to one person, you're talking to 1,000 people. And then the other thing I would say is like, you just have to be like, the motto of every marketer, as you know, is always be testing. So I don't think there's one perfect way to create a great call to action or to funnel people into the product or into your, let's say, your email funnel. You just have to be willing to test different scenarios. So whether that's like, a pop-up sort of opt-in offer, or it's something in the text, or it's a form at the bottom of the text, something, flashing at the top of the page, and then knowing where your visitors are coming from. If they're all coming from mobile, does your offer, can they read it on mobile? Is it obnoxious on mobile? Does it work there? So it's so many different pieces that, again, as you know, that play into actually making that conversion happen.
Okay, let's talk about for example, we discussed that it's better to create content for people, for consumers. But what about Google? How to optimize for Google? For example, if you write really high quality, valuable content, useful content, but how to optimize that Google understands? Because I've seen many times when great content, valuable content can't get ranking positions because they ignore basic of SEO. For me, it's more important, to create for human and then optimize for SEO for Google. Can you tell from your experience how to do it?
Yeah, I feel like I really take bring the create for a human and the optimize for Google. I really look at them synonymously, honestly, because I don't like to optimize post idea. So I like to say, okay, here's our idea. This is what we want to talk about, what's important. Now let's go keyword research. Let's find the best keyword with high search volume and low difficulty that really truly reflects this topic as best as possible. And if we can't find one that reflects this topic, we may need to reconsider the topic because obviously people aren't actually searching for it, or too many people are competing for it. And so we need to think, how can we get more niche? Because we're not going to compete with all these people. We're never going to get there. So maybe we need to get more specific. And then it's about taking that keyword, putting it in the right places, and then optimizing the content specifically for search. So like formatting it with your H2s and H3s, getting links in there, high quality external links, relevant internal links, just following those sort of SEO best practices that actually aren't all that complicated and really anyone can do if you know what it is. But for me, the foundation is always keywords. And I know I think some people think that's outdated, but it works for myself and my clients, and we create really great content around that. So it's what I rely on and stick to.
Nice. Yeah. By the way, I usually use keyword research because I need to find content ideas. Yeah, I need to measure potential traffic, volume, what we can get with these keywords, the competition. So anyway, you can use keyword research even if it's obsolete. You can find ideas. The second thing, when people type on Google any keyword, they scan the top 10 results. If they can't see your keywords, I'm not sure they will click to your content. So, but if you set up keywords in your title and description, you can increase the chance of CTR. So you can get much higher CTR and get more traffic, and Google can understand much better. About content, it depends. Of course, it depends, but I like I like old school that you need to use keyword in the first 100 words because many users usually scan content, and we know that bounce like 80% after the first paragraph, people can leave content for a few seconds. So when they see your keyword in the first words, like in the first 100 words, so yeah, it's a big reason to retain them. Yeah, love it. We have the question about so hard question. I don't know. Can you reply to this question?
Yeah, sure. So I think so yes, you've created the content. Your question sort of then goes to the next piece, which is what are you doing with the content once you create it? And a big piece of that is getting in front of your subscribers. If you have past customers, you have a list of past customers, are you talking to them? Are you connecting with them? Are you staying top of mind for them? This fresh content is a great way to do that. So, the absolute bare minimum is like a monthly newsletter of some sort where you share this new content that shows your expertise, your thought leadership, probably also solves a problem for them, and it keeps you top of mind for them. So they don't forget who you are and what you do. And if you're a type of company that repeat business is something relevant for you, then ideally you're driving repeat business as well.
Yeah, love it. Okay, you mentioned that you pay more attention to create content, and I cooperated with few companies, and they don't provide any link building and get good traffic, like over 1 million people a month, a lot. And I asked them how you can ignore link building, and they replied to me, because we can create the best possible content. They cooperate with the best writers and create the best content, links worthy content, so they can earn links naturally because of high quality of content. Can you tell about this thing, how to create content that deserves links when you don't need to provide any link building? Just give a strong reason to bloggers, journalists, or for sharing on social media. Give a reason, to share this content.
Yeah, I think one of the best options for that is developing proprietary data, whether that is through, like, if you have, like, let's say a CRM platform and you pull like aggregate data out of that. So you can sort of give, like, for example, like Buffer and Later and all these companies, they do like their annual reports. And that's a lot of it is through the data that they have through their products. But you can also run surveys through, like, Google surveys or SurveyMonkey, and get, 1,000 to 2,000 respondents, and then put together a report and put that out there, and then really push it out. Make sure you have a good promotion strategy for it. Because what people are really looking for when we're talking about like natural links, people are looking for new things, and especially like database stuff in terms of journalists. That's what tends to get picked up the most. So that's usually my top recommendation for driving those natural links to your content on your website.
I have some tricky question. Sorry for that. But for example, when I check out weight loss supplements industry, I often see when many websites share information about some pills, shakes that can help, to lose weight 10 kilograms for a month, something like this. And when I check out this content, I can see everything we need to do just to drink these pills, and that's it, but I'm not sure it can help. Of course, it's better to, I don't know, like to train hard, to rest, to eat healthy food. Can you tell more about this industry wellness? For example, do you have such issue when other websites can mislead people to the wrong direction because of selling some stuff, because I think in the end we want to sell, we want to get sales, but sometimes many webmasters can do for the sake of money, so they can mislead to other products where they can get better revenue than better tips, because of revenue. What do you think about misleading in your industry, and how do you usually, I don't know, create content considering to help as maximum as possible?
Yeah, great question. And I don't really work with companies that are like selling supplements and stuff like that. And I would not work with a company if I saw they were doing that. First and foremost, I do actually believe, so specifically in the mental wellness space, that there has been a lot of transparency and or creating content around connecting and knowing that that storytelling and that connecting is actually going to drive conversions rather than this sort of like hard sell of like, you know, lose 10 pounds in a month. I think we're so jaded on that type of marketing, and there's so much understanding now in the wellness industry that like that's just not realistic. And of course, some people are still going to fall for that, and companies like that will always exist forever. But I think we're really starting to see a shift in the industry where people are really over that. And so they're looking for companies with substance that stand for something, that have values, and that want to connect. And those are the kind of companies I want to be working with anyway. So I think we're seeing less and less of that. And people are willing to put up with it less and less.
Yeah, love it, love it. Yeah, awesome. I have the question about common mistakes that webmasters do. You know, from your experience, what common mistakes you can see, and how to elaborate or avoid them from your experience.
Well, if we're talking specifically about content marketing and content creation,
Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake I see is people doing it without a strategy.
Mhm.
First and foremost, just creating it to check a box or being on social media just to check a box. Being everywhere on social media, thinking you need to be on every platform. And then when you spread yourself so thin, you're not actually active or engaged on any of those platforms, which
Yeah.
doesn't actually benefit your brand at all. So less is more is very much my strategy around that. And then actually creating good content. A lot of people put content out there thinking like, oh, blogs are dead. Oh, people only want to read 400 words. But that's just not the truth. The data consistently shows that content that ranks higher in Google and that gets people to share is actually really long, more in-depth content. People are looking for substance. So I see people not creating content with a strategy, you know, not creating content that's long enough or thorough enough, and trying to be everything to everyone. That's kind of come up a couple times here, like creating content that's just too broad. Like you're never going to get people to convert if you're not attracting the right people. And that starts with knowing who you're attracting and really creating content that speaks very, you know, very specifically to them.
You remind me my mistakes, you know, because I remember when I decided to grow, to create brand awareness on all social media. I tried Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, many others, and you know, I got like 5 followers a day. A few hundred views, not more. Then I decided to switch all my attention to LinkedIn because I understand that jack of all trades, master of none. I can't engage with all these platforms, especially if you have limited resources, as I have like 2 hands. That's it, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, but after that, I got like 200 followers a day, 10,000 views because of engaging with others, not only about creating content. Engaging, building relationships, so you can go ahead. But when you are going, it's the same, by the way, about blogging. When you know, webmasters ask me how many blogs post a month. I don't know. You know, it depends on quality, as you mentioned, less but quality. Can you tell, for example, if I have my strategy, I have a lot of pieces of content, how to choose priorities, especially when we have limited resources. We can't create a lot of great articles, but we need to choose something that will provide better results.
I always recommend at least 2 pieces a month to really see any sort of organic growth. My ideal for a client, really for any client, is 4 pieces a month. I find that can provide growth at a really steady rate without being so much that it's unmanageable. Data and reports show, you know, the more content, more optimized content a month you can create, you know, you can get more and more SEO value. But for, you know, a mental wellness brand, say like, you know, a mental wellness app, like it's not necessary for them to be creating 10 pieces of content a month. Like it's just an inordinate amount of content creation. So 4 pieces a month I find is like a really a good spot that's reasonable, gets them lots of fresh content. And it's also actually gets us where we want to go in terms of growth.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I agree with you, especially about the word management, you know. So yeah, when you have, I have this issue with one client, you know, he created a lot of great content many years ago. and today it's obsolete. It's
Right.
hard to update all this content, to manage all this content, to rewrite, to provide new design, to analyze. Even just when we know that it's obsolete, it takes time to rewrite all this content. So yeah, I love about management. Okay, I have the question. For example, let's imagine you have no experience, skills, anything. You started from scratch. What will you do to learn more about blogging and SEO today?
To learn more about it, YouTube is a great place. And I would really start by understanding the basics of how to optimize content and then do it right. Like get it right. Like do one piece, but do it right. And I like the tool Ahrefs. There's so many SEO tools out there. Ahrefs, Ahrefs is my favorite. So like pick a tool like Ahrefs that you're going to use for keyword research, and then maybe check out. They have tons of great educational content on like how to choose keywords, how to implement them. And then just start with one piece and like make sure you understand the process, do it right, get it published, and then work your way up to, you know, adding more into the queue as is possible. And really SEO truly isn't, it can be extremely tactical and complicated, but you know, on page SEO, what we're talking about here is not really complicated. And if you're on WordPress, a tool, a plugin like Yoast SEO is really valuable as well, because you can plug in your keyword and then it tells you how well optimized your content is for that keyword. So that's another really good tool to have on board if you're new and you don't know really, you need suggestions for making sure your content is as optimized as it should be.
You know, you mentioned about Yoast, and it's interesting that I had a conversation today with a web developer of Yoast, Jonah Alderson. You know, he shared a lot of insights about Yoast. And yeah, Ahrefs sponsored some of my podcasts. You know, I love this tool as well. So yeah, you mentioned two great tools. Can you forecast the future? I'm interested about the future because many things are coming, like metaverse, virtual reality. What do you think? What kind of future will be? Because we still get the question: is SEO dead? Do we need to consider SEO? Because, for example, if metaverse will come and nobody is interested about SEO or blogging, what do you think? Is it possible or not?
I mean, I think there's always going to be some version of that. People are always Google isn't just going to like poof and not exist. There's going to be search engines. People are going to be looking for information, for content. It's a matter of how they're searching for it and then how you make sure your content gets in front of them. The SEO world has been evolving for, I can remember when I first started writing SEO content, I was manually having to calculate keyword density, like, and how far we've come in, you know, the last decade from that. And thinking about, you know, there's been a lot of talk like in the last 5 years about voice search and like how do you make sure your content comes up when people are voice searching through, you know, tools like you know, talking to Siri on your phone or using the Amazon voice assistant things. So I think it's always going to be there in some way. We have too much information at our fingertips for people to not be searching for it. It's just how they're going to search and then how we then, you know, get in front of them through that medium.
Yeah, great insights. I have the question about one thing. For example, if we need to analyze all our discussion, but we have limited resources, what only one thing can you do if you have no other options, but it's a must-have?
Work with someone that knows what they're doing. If you want to, well, if you put all your eggs in one basket, like social media, that's not a good plan. Like a stock portfolio, you want to diversify, right? So I want to make sure anyone listening, if you're not putting any stock in your website, to do so, to start thinking about whether or not your website is optimized. So that can be another option. So if Facebook goes poof or Instagram goes down for a day, which Instagram has gone down for a few hours many times, you aren't screwed. Like, how are you going to get customers? How are you going to get in front of people? So that's why I always say everyone I've talked to should have started SEO and thinking about their website 2 days ago or yesterday. So finding someone that knows what they're doing if you do not, and knowing that investing now is going to pay dividends even 3 years from now. But working with someone who knows what they're doing, because if you try to do it yourself, you're likely just going to waste time and money. Even if you just find, like, I coach too, like I do coaching and training. Even if you want to do it yourself, work with someone like me who can teach you. Like, I could take what's in my head and put it in yours, so then you can continue doing it yourself for years to come. But don't do it just to do it. Do it right, or you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, I have the question about how to differentiate yourself from others, because I see when webmasters rewrite existing content, they check out the top 10 results, create the same stuff. Even some tools can show 100% uniqueness, but it's the same, nothing special. I remember one discussion with Jim Edwards. He worked 10 years in Business Insider before when they sold the company like $500 million, a lot. And yeah, right now this company has 1,000 employees around the world. But he told me their strategy was to create content not boring. In boring niche. That means in boring niche, people are looking for content, but it's not boring. It's interesting to read. Can you tell how to differentiate yourself from others and create content that people want to consume until then? Because bounce rate is high today, and most people don't read. They just open, check out the first paragraph, and leave it. Tell from your experience how retain them and create not boring content.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it comes back to what we've said now a couple times, is knowing who you're writing for and speaking directly to them, and bringing in that piece of connection, like not being afraid to share maybe more personally or more openly, whether it's, sharing something about how that your company has experienced, opening with something that is less of like, the data says this, and more like, we've been here before, we've experienced this before. And like a little bit of a story. I think our modern consumer is leaning more and more toward storytelling and wanting to have that connection and be sort of like brought into the conversation. And so I think if you can connect with them on that level, that it's going to resonate deeper, especially if you're really writing something that like it's based on, for example, like qualitative data from your customers, like what is your exact customer struggling with, what are exact words that they're using, and then creating content around that rather than like generalized assumptions of your audience.
Yeah, love it, Jessica. It's a big pleasure to get all your replies to these questions. Tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you.
Yeah, you can just search Jessica Thiefels anywhere. I'm the only Jessica Thiefels in the entire world, so you will only find me if you search my name. But I spend most of my time on Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn a bit, picking up more over there, and starting to pick up again on Twitter because I took a little bit of a pause. And then just jessicathiefels.com, you can learn all about what I'm doing, what I'm up to. And on my website, you can find my 2 podcasts as well. I have a podcast that I just started called Thrive Through Marketing. And then I have a podcast that's been around for about 2 years now called Mindset Reset Radio.
Nice. Guys, you need to follow Jessica. You can find all these links in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Welcome back anytime, to share more value. Guys, follow Jessica. Listen to her podcast because you can see a lot of valuable insights. Okay, guys, love you. See you.